Okay, hello everybody. So I am by myself today, and I'm going to be doing a Phasmophobia tier list. I have a bunch of different tier lists we're going to do from this website. Um, but I wanted to do this video earlier this week before stream, but I got COVID this week. Hence me sounding the way that I do. So the past couple days I really haven't been able to move. But today I'm feeling alright, so I decided I would do it since we're going to be streaming tomorrow, and I really wanted to do this before stream, just because why not? But anyways, the couple ones we're going to do, we're going to do the houses, we're going to do cursed items, which is the one I have up right now, and ghosts. Hello? Can I say the word ghost? Okay. And also probably gonna do the equipment too. I've wanted to do this video for a while now. I haven't had a computer that has been working, so I just realized, there we go. Sorry. I realized that the frame is slightly off. But I've been wanting to do this for a bit. I just haven't had a computer that works properly for me to stream. The last two streams were my first two streams, and I kind of forgot that I wanted to do this. So let me fix the screen really quick. Sorry if I'm moving the screen. Okay. I want to start off with the cursed items just because they're the more recent things. And me and Mac have gotten a lot of experience with them. It's been fun, and now they actually changed the spawn points for them, which kind of sucks because I've really tried my hardest to memorize every single spawn point, and now I think it's one spawn point per map, so now I gotta figure them out again. Anyways, we're gonna start off with the mirror because it's the first one that's here. This is a tricky one. I think a lot of these are tricky because sometimes you just accidentally find the ghost while looking for the cursed item. So in that case, the mirror wouldn't be as useful, but I am going to put it all the way up here because if you have a roaming ghost, especially if you're in something like nightmare mode, the mirror is probably going to be really useful. It uses a lot of sanity though. So that's the only, that's really the biggest downside. A lot of them do. Like, I think the music box and the mirror use the most sanity because that's just what I've seen. I forget, the Voodoo Doll, uses like 10% every time you use it. Probably the same for tarot cards. I have mixed feelings about the Ouija board. I'm probably going to get hate by putting the Ouija board where I'm going to put it, but we'll get to that in a second. The mirror now, the spawn points, they're pretty easy to find, so you should find them pretty quickly. Which is, I'm just debating on what's going to really go up here. Because here's the thing. Are we talking about fun or usefulness? Because that changes a lot of things. I'll figure it out. I might rearrange this, but this is where I'm putting it for now. The music box. This is tricky. The music box is pretty hard to find. So that kind of knocks off a couple points. But now, since the spawning points are only one per map, it should be a bit easier once you figure out where all the spawning points are. But I'm probably going to put the music box here. Reason being is because I don't think it's as useful as a mirror, because a mirror literally shows you the room that the ghost is in. The music box kind of, it lets you hear where the ghost is coming from, but sometimes, honestly, it's hard to tell where it's coming from, and by the time you get close enough to it, it'll start hunting. So, it literally drops your sanity to like 0% most of the time. So I think I gotta put it in B, because it's fun, because, let me tell you, the men voices that sing are so cool. It's like horrifying, but really, really cool. So I don't want to put it any lower than where this is right now. The Ouija board. I'm gonna get hate like it's nothing here. I don't think anything belongs in F tier, I must say. A lot of them are equivalent to each other, so I don't want to put anything in F tier. So pretend that's not even there. Can I even... Okay. So I'm going to put Ouija board in D. Alright, let me explain myself. Here's the thing. I understand, I think Ouija board is great in nightmare mode. I think it'll be great for you because you can figure out your sanity, and if you're really good, you could do whole math thing to try and figure out what kind of ghost it is. So it's useful in that sense. I don't really play nightmare mode because I don't want to say I don't like nightmare mode, but I don't like it as much as I do playing professional. It's not because it's so much harder. It's just kind of, I don't know. I don't find it as fun. I really don't. So, other than that, I think the Ouija board can be fun to use. You can play hide and seek, which is a really cool thing that they added to it. But, literally, I have gotten hunted quicker than I have from the music box, the mirror, the tarot cards, the food, everything. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my luck, because I watch people stream, and they're fine. And then I go to do it, and instantly gets hunted. I don't really understand it. But that's why I'm putting it. This is personal experience, so that's why it belongs there, in my opinion. Now we got the summoning circle. This one's really tricky because, you know what? Is it really that tricky? I'm gonna put it here. I really don't know if I'm gonna put anything in S tier because I think everything is just so close to like being equivalent with each other that nothing really belongs up here. The summoning circle is useful because ghost photos obviously count as more points, so you get a ghost photo, which is great. I have been screwed over before in a summoning circle, so that's kind of why it's not up here with the mirror. It kind of scares me a little bit because depends on which ghost you get. Also, have a smudge stick available. That's a good advice. Have a smudge stick available in case it's a Rev or even a Raiju, honestly. I haven't had that happen yet, but I can assume. But you can get like all of your objectives with the summoning circle plus a ghost photo, which are such high points in the game. I mean, if you walk in, get a summoning circle, don't even look for the ghost, but just do the summoning circle, get all the objectives, get the ghost photo, and then leave, you still get a lot of money. I must say, you do get quite a bit of money by just doing those things. Depending on the difficulty, obviously, you can, and you take a photo of the summoning circle too, which is, counts as points as well. So, honestly, see, now I'm almost thinking to put it here, but the reason I'm not is because I don't always use it. It's a tricky one too, just because it depends. It really does depend. Also, it kind of depends on where it spawns, because sometimes it's really not that easy to get a picture and run away, I must say. Like in Tanglewood, I don't know if it still spawns here. I haven't played since they changed it, but in Tanglewood, it used to be in that bathroom of the girls' room or whatever it was. It used to be in the bathroom, and it kind of sucked because you would go to run out and there was just a bed in the way and then a desk, and then like it was just kind of a sucky spot for it. But if they changed that, I think it's now in the basement, then that's fine because you just run upstairs. You're fine. So I'm almost thinking to put it up here. If there's like a middle ground, like right here, then sure, but we're gonna keep it there for now. Tarot cards. Look, if I'm gonna be completely honest, for usefulness, they almost belong here. I must say, no, that's not true though, honestly. I'm gonna put them here. Now look, do I love them? Yes. Are they my favorite? Yes. But how useful are they compared to others? They belong here. Realistically, this should probably be here and that should be there, because that's kind of what makes the most sense to me. I almost feel like I should be doing this. You know, we're going to keep it at that because it just, even though my personal opinions on them vary and it might be different from others, I genuinely think what you can get out of them, this is kind of where the Ouija board should be, and this is where the summoning circle should be. I don't know. The tarot cards are not insanely useful if your sanity is already low and you have no sanity pills. You could take the risk and get your sanity to 100%. But you can also take the risk to immediately die, to immediately get hunted, to drain your sanity completely. So that's why I wouldn't call them insanely useful, because they could they're probably number one on screwing you over because you can immediately die. I have yet to pull that card, but I'm excited for that day. I genuinely think, though, realistically, this is where they belong. For fun, I'm going to put them up here. I love them. I think they're so much fun. But honestly, they truly do belong there. And Voodoo Doll. We're going to put the Voodoo Doll here because I think it's useful because you could find the ghost. It'll make an interaction, and you could go and find it. You could take a photo. It can force it to touch a door, and you could get fingerprints. So it's very useful, super fun. Probably one of my favorites. For me, my favorites. Oh, it's really hard. It's kind of like all of them, but the Ouija board. But I do love this little guy. He only drains your sanity by, I think, 10% every pin that you push in. But you can also trigger a hunt immediately if your first pin goes into its heart, which is what has happened to me and Mackenzie before. Her first go, she clicked in a pin, and the first one was the heart, and we were very confused because it was the first time using it. So that was a fun time. But yeah, you know what? I think this is a good. They're all so close to each other in like usefulness and fun and all that stuff. So I don't think the S tier or F tier are really useful in this case because none of them are like substantially better than the other. I think I'm biased with the mirror because I think the mirror is really cool. I almost feel like it Okay, if we're going to talk, how about this? This is my overall right here. Now let's talk about fun. If we're going to do fun, S tier is being used because, come on, it's fun. It honestly is. And then Voodoo Doll will be up there. Music Box is probably up there too. These two aren't really fun. I guess it'd probably be like this. If we're talking about fun, that was a little easier for me to do just because I love tarot cards. Do I screw myself over every time? Yes. And you will see that in every stream that we do. By the way, for anybody watching, tomorrow we will be streaming Phasmophobia. I'm not sure on the time, but sometime in the late afternoon / early evening Eastern time, we will be streaming. You can also check out Dragon's Fire on Twitch because she streams as well. So just play both of our streams in the background. Why not? Alright, so this is my fun, and the other one is overall. If you agree with that or don't, let me know what you agree and don't. I'm curious. But we're going to move on. Okay. So, we have the ghost tier. Do we have all the ghosts here? Do we? Is this all of them? How many ghosts should we have? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, yeah, no, this is all of them, I think. Unless I'm crazy. Whatever. Okay, this is gonna be tricky. And so biased. So biased. Remember, everybody has different experiences. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick before I start talking. everybody's experiences are different with ghosts. I think that's the number one thing to remember. Hey, Mackenzie. Finally doing my tier list. Alright, so, let's start off with the Banshee. And now this is going to be hard because I'm going to go off of, I don't want to say that I'm going to go off of my favorites. This is hard because some of them, like this guy right here, I have terrible experiences. I just can't beat a Raiju. I can't do it. I don't know why. So for me, I would put a Raiju low. But as a ghost having that competition, it would rank a bit higher. So, this is going to be another overall thing. Like, my favorites. Maybe I'll do that after. How about we do an overall and then a favorites, like I did with the last one. Let's start with a Banshee, because it's the first one here. Look. I'm putting a Banshee here, and let me explain why. I think they took a lot of power from the Banshee. The Banshee is kind of now. It doesn't really do anything. It's not really an interesting ghost. I think the fact that it goes after one person and one person only is kind of funny. Because it's always me, by the way. Every time we play, I get wrecked by a Banshee. I normally don't die because they're not fast. But they always want me. But I think just in general, with their powers and weaknesses and everything, I think they belong in C tier because they're not powerful ghosts. They don't really do much. They have interesting characteristics to themselves, which is why they're not in D tier. But they're not the best. Demon. Haha. Where do we put him? Do I like a demon? No. I hate demons. Because you literally... Let's think about something like... Also, Mackenzie, if you're still watching, can you let me know if I'm too loud or not? Because I cannot tell. I'm also sick, so I'm trying to, talk louder. Anyways. A demon... If you're in a place like a big map, even like the campsite, and you're at the cabin, and this bitch hunts while you're at the cabin, you're never getting out of there. We have literally tried. It was, 3 hunts in a row? Even 4 it might have been, by the time we got out. Because every time we would go to get to the other side, it would start hunting again. So that's why I just think, I understand that's a demon's personality. I get it. It's always easy. I mean, the number one ghost I can tell immediately is a demon. I'll always know. So I think I'll put the demon... We're going to put him in B tier because it's really the only thing the demon has going for him is that he keeps hunting. He's got nothing else going, so I think he belongs in a B tier because I don't like the demon. The only challenge is trying to escape a demon. There's no, it's not like a Rev where you gotta, figure something out on the spot. A demon is okay, you can run away from a demon, but it's gonna keep hunting. It just kind of gets annoying. So I think, but he's a difficult ghost, so he goes right in the middle. Goryo. This is a hard one because we had a wacky Goryo. It was hunting so early 4 times in a row, and Mac could just not get out of the house. But that's the only time I've experienced that. I think I'll put a Goryo the same as a Banshee because thanks, Mackenzie. Alright. So a Goryo, the thing about a Goryo is they normally don't do too much that I have seen. We had that one random Goryo, but honestly that happens with every ghost where all of a sudden it just decides to act a different way. It always happens, but it's hard. They don't really, it's almost kind of because also one thing about Goryos is they don't leave its room. so they don't really do anything anywhere else, which is kind of why I'm thinking here. Let's see. He might change. I'm just gonna, how about I just leave him here? And then figure out the rest, and, whoa, this looks so weird. Mylingobake. It looks like one word. Alright, sorry, ADD. But we'll probably move him later. I'll see how I feel about the rest of them. A Hantu. Look. We're gonna put, okay, let's put Gory up here. I don't like Hantus. They're so boring. They don't do anything. I think the one cool thing that they added is that if you were in the ghost room, then you could see the Hantu's breath while it's hunting. So that's a really interesting quality that the Hantu now has. How about we look up, how about this? Phasmophobia ghost list. Let's see. I need the new. The Mimic isn't here, but that's okay. Oh, they don't have their qualities on here. Never mind. Alright. Anyways. Then we have a Jinn. Like right in the middle of these two. I'll put him here. For me, they've been so chill. I haven't been outran by a Jinn yet, so I kind of gotta put them here. They don't really do too much. Their qualities, they vary, honestly. I think that they're not scary ghosts. They're very chill ghosts for the most part that I've seen. So I believe that they belong in this area with the Banshee and Goryo because they're normally pretty chill. But they can be a little aggressive depending. So I think that's a good spot for him. A mare. I'm going to put a mare with a demon because mares can be pretty spooky. They're not like insanely deadly, but they could just get a little spooky, you know? Especially because, like, for a Jinn, they like to be in light. For a mare, it's the opposite. So the opposite is always a little spookier. But yeah, I think that's a good spot for them. I've had mixed feelings about mares. They normally aren't, like, insanely aggressive, but God, they can be. They can be so chill. They can also just murder you. This is a fun one. I'm going to put a Mimic in A tier. Now look, when the game started with a Mimic, he would probably be down here. I was afraid of him. I didn't know how a Mimic worked yet, though. That's the issue. But now, every time we've played, it's so easy to tell. If you narrow it down to a couple options, you could tell how it's acting. You're like, wait a minute, but this ghost doesn't act like that. Neither does this or this. And then you could figure out, I think a good thing about the Mimic is that, or a cool thing, is that you see orbs, right? And you put it down in your book that it's orbs. But then all of a sudden you get 3 more pieces of evidence. I mean, it's obvious that it's a Mimic. So if you have a feeling that it's a Mimic, and you have some pieces of evidence, just go in there with a cam, and whatever else you need. And there you go. If you have 4 pieces of evidence plus orbs, it's clearly a Mimic. The one thing I have yet to experience is a Mimic hunting as a Rev or a Raiju. I've had a Mimic be a Hantu, a Myling, I don't know what else. I haven't had many. But, I don't know. I think they're pretty cool, honestly. I've gotten a little bit more used to them. So, I think they belong up here for being such an interesting kind of ghost. Almost think they belong here. But for now, keep them there. A Myling. Honestly, a Myling belongs there for me. I have had the wackiest of Mylings. I have died from Mylings more than I've died from, like, a demon. Don't tell me how. Or, like, even, I think I've died more from a Myling than I have a Rev. Like, in all honesty. This is one ghost that I just always die from, and I really don't know why. The one cool thing about a Myling, I'm just trying to make sure that this is the right ghost. Yeah. Is that, when it's hunting, this is always such a hard thing to explain. When it's hunting, if you can only hear its footsteps when your flashlight is flashing, then it's a Myling. Because normally, you could hear the ghost walking before you see your flashlight flashing, so that's how you know it's hunting. If you don't hear any footsteps, and then as soon as your flashlight starts flashing, you hear footsteps, that would be a Myling. So I think that's a really cool quality about a Myling, because that's where knowing stuff about the ghost really help you. So that's why I think he belongs over here. Obake? I don't know. I almost kind of want to put an Obake here because they're so lame. I mean, it's cool, like they only leave evidence occasionally, and it's 6 fingerprints, like, it's cool, but, like, realistically, I feel like they belong here. I feel like people are going to disagree with me so much. They're not aggressive. I've had an aggressive Obake before, but you're not going to die from an Obake. I mean, you could. Wrong place, wrong time. But realistically, you're not going to die from an Obake. I almost feel like if there was a row right here, like in the middle of C and D, that's where it would go, but realistically, it's fine. And Oni. I'm going to put an Oni up here. I'm not putting an Oni up here because of deadliness. I'm putting it up here because, you know how many photo ops that you get because of an Oni? It's crazy. I've had the wackiest Onis before where they just keep doing ghost events over and over and over again, so I just kept getting ghost photos over and over and over again. So that's kind of why I put an Oni up here, because when I play Phas, I'm there for the photos. I want the money. Like, even if I don't get the ghost, that's only $30. If I get how many photos, you know how much money that is? So, look, I appreciate the Oni. He doesn't hurt me. He just gives me photos. And Onryo. I'm going to put Onryo here. I think it's a cool ghost. Because you can tell if it's an Onryo by, obviously, lighting candles. If you have, like, 3 candles, and none of them are blown out, and nothing is happening, and then as soon as a candle, or 2 of them, or 3 of them are blown out, and you get hunted, there's potential of it being an Onryo. And they could get aggressive, for sure, which is why I put them up here. I do think they're a pretty cool ghost. I almost kind of want to put an Oni down here. No, I think. You know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to use the S tier. There's no F tier here, so let's use an S tier. I think the Mimics are one of the coolest ghosts. I think Onryos are really cool. The rest, I think, belong in the spots they are. Sorry, Obake and Hantu. Never liked a Hantu. A Phantom. We're going to skip Phantom and Poltergeist for now. Hold on, am I watching my own stream? No, I'm not. Alright. I'm going to X out of this real quick. Alright. We're going to skip them because I just want to get to this guy. I want to see where I'm going to put this because I have no idea. Oh, Raiju. My worst enemy. This is my nemesis right here. I've had the worst experiences with a Raiju. I think they are one of the most overpowered ghosts. I think they are really, really hard to beat. That might just be me. I have no idea. I can't seem to beat a Raiju. I don't get any money when it's a Raiju. Or I die. Like, that's it. I think I've had one good game with a Raiju before, and that's probably wrong. So, look. I am going to put a Raiju right in the middle. The reason being is because here are the ratios, right? I don't like the Raiju. And I think they're too overpowered where it's not a great ghost. But at the same time, they are so powerful that I think they're a good challenge. And they have really cool, like, characteristics to themselves. Compared to a lot of ghosts, they have really cool characteristics. So I think they deserve the B tier. Or borderline A tier. But just because of how overpowered that I believe they are, I think B tier is the best bet for them. Revenant. I'm putting Revenant in C. Here is why. I have had some of the best games with the Revenant. You want to know why? Because they do absolutely nothing. They hunt, as I've seen, I think 50% or less. Every single time I've gotten them, they have hunted 50% or less. One of them even hunted like 40%. So, I think it was like 45. But Revenants are honestly not that big of a threat anymore, especially with like a Raiju, Mimic, Demon, Onryo, all of this. I just think that the Revs are not that big of a threat anymore. I've gotten them so many times, and I've been perfectly okay. Now look, if it starts hunting, then we got a problem. If I don't have a smudge stick on me, we got problems. But I think that's why I'm giving them the C tier. Is because, they still got the speed on them, so they're not D. They're definitely not D tier. But I can't possibly put them in the same row as a Raiju. I can't possibly put it above a Raiju. So I think, as of right now, a Rev is a good C tier because they're so chill. Like, they just don't do much anymore. They used to be so aggressive. Unless that was just me, I don't know. They used to be so aggressive, and now they're just they're chilling. Giving me some good games. I haven't been hunted by a Rev in a long time. I think one time and I survived it, but I don't know. I almost want to put them here, but I can't put them in the same row as a Raiju, and I don't want to put a Raiju up here. Maybe I should. I don't want to put the Raiju here. I'll leave it there and figure it out later, I think. A Shade. Literally the worst ghost. If there was an F tier, this would be the only ghost in an F tier. Maybe I should just leave it here because it's F tier. Shades can now not hunt until, 30% or less? Which is ridiculous because some games I don't get anywhere near 30% sanity or less. So, it's honestly ridiculous. I also think their weaknesses and powers are stupid. They don't do anything. But also it says that, they're more active when it's just, one person around. But literally, I've seen them do things with multiple people around. I don't know. I just think that... I think it's a lame ghost. Never liked Shade, and now it's gotten even worse since the update, so... Screw you, Shade. F tier. I'm keeping it here because it belongs down here. Let's go back up to a Phantom. I'm going to put a Phantom up here. I've had really, really, really aggressive Phantoms. I don't know why. I don't know if their qualities are super... I don't want to say amazing. I feel like their qualities are very... But I've had a lot of fun with Phantoms. I don't know why or what it is, but Phantoms have given me a challenge. So they're kind of fun ghosts. But I almost want to, I don't know. I'm not good at these things, making decisions. I'll keep a Phantom up there. I think a Poltergeist should also be here because the only ghost that can throw like like the poltergeist throw. And I think it's a cool thing because it kind of makes you second guess yourself. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, you hear that poltergeist throw, sometimes I thought it was a poltergeist throw, but it was realistically a twin that was throwing something at the same time, so it just sounded like a poltergeist throw. So, I know that probably sounds weird, but, actually, I think a poltergeist goes here. I think phantoms, revenants, onis, mylings, mares, and demons are all the more deadly than a poltergeist. The only quality that a poltergeist really, really has that I've seen is its throwing. So I actually think that they belong in a C tier. I don't know why there's not an F tier here. It's weird. A spirit. I guess I don't think they're as bad as a shade, but I don't like spirits because they don't have their own personality. The only personality trait they have is like, oh, I smudged the room and now they can't hunt for 3 minutes. Like, cool. Thanks, I guess. I don't know. I hate spirits. Not as much as I hate a shade, so that's kind of why they're here. They almost belong down here with the shade. If there was an F tier, I'll be honest, probably would put them here. Probably put a spirit right before a shade. But we'll keep a spirit up here because they have their moments. They got their deadly moments. The twins. I'll put the twins here. I think, actually, I'm going to put the twins here. I think they're a great challenge for the most part, especially in the beginning when they first came out. They were very difficult ghosts for me because, I mean, you could play with its freaking twin and it's not actually the ghost or the ghost room, so it would just confuse the hell out of you. One reason, too, why I'm putting them so high is sometimes they're hard to tell if it's a mimic or a twin. Same with an Oni. I think twin, Oni, mimic, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna mute this. Oh, I can't. Alright. Okay. I forget. There's a couple ghosts that you narrow them down, and it could also be a mimic if you see orbs, but I've had so many issues with distinguishing whether it's like a twin versus like a bunch of different ghosts, because I don't know, they're tricky sometimes. So I think that they belong up here because they definitely have characteristics that no other ghost has. They're not insanely deadly, so I don't, obviously I put them next to a Raiju, but we're talking about an overall thing here. I like the twins' personalities and qualities they have more than they are deadly. And then that's the opposite for the Raiju, which is kind of why they're in the same tier. A Wraith? Wraiths aren't that crazy. I mean, look. If you walk in a house, put down some salt, take out your UV, or if they start walking, right? And there are no footprints, you're done with the game. I feel like that's kind of lame. And they're pretty chill ghosts. Wraiths aren't crazy. I've had aggressive ones, but once again, I think that's just a thing with, like, all of the ghosts. It could just happen. You could just have an aggressive spirit. You can have an aggressive Hantu. Or like, it just happens. Because you can't have the same thing every game. It gets boring. But I personally just think that a Wraith is Yokai. I'm gonna put a yokai up here. No, I'm not. I'm gonna put it right here. I like yokais. I think the quality they have of, if you talk more in game, it can trigger a hunt, or it can anger the yokai. I think that's a cool quality to have. I also love that they're spirit box, and that's the same thing with Raiju. Like, oh, let's make a ghost that you can have technology around it, or else it'll be like super fast. But let's make its evidence be dots, video camera, and EMF. I don't know if that's right or not, but it sounds right in my head. Same with yokai. Give you spirit box and it's a yokai. And a Yurei, I'll put a Yurei down here, because the biggest quality Yurei has, obviously, is draining your sanity. But for me, it's like 20% more noticeable. That's it. Like, than any other ghost draining my sanity. It's like barely more noticeable. I mean, it is sometimes, but that's the only quality I've really found in a Yurei, besides a couple other things I can do. But I don't know, not very deadly to me. I think this list is pretty good. I feel a little weird about having a mimic up there by itself. I almost want to do this. I think that looks better. Yeah, alright. Remember, for other people who are joining, this is my F tier. This is like my DF tier. It goes in between both, but we'll keep it here. If you disagree, please, I'm so curious on people's opinion. I really wish there were people in chat right now, because I want to discuss this, and maybe once there's more updates and more maps and ghosts and stuff, I could get more viewers and we could really talk about it, because I think that would be a really cool conversation. Maybe I'll try this with Mackenzie one day after a couple updates in the new year. But this is my list. I think it's pretty accurate for an overall list. Now, let's change it up a bit. This should be a little quicker. On my favorites. Oh god, okay. Actually, I think a demon is fine there. My Banshee's only up there because I think it's funny. I like Onis. I think they're cool. Honestly. I go Bakes are a good middle ground. Alright. I did that super quick, so it's probably half wrong, but I like this. Mimic, Rev, Onryo, and Mare as number 1. I think they bring a challenge, all of them. And they all have specific characteristics about themselves that are pretty cool. I think the Rev is almost like I'll put him last on the list, because the Mimic has one of the coolest personalities. And Onryo is just, it's such an interesting ghost. And I just like its characteristics. A Mare as well, I think a lot of the times I found challenges with Mares, so I think that's why they belong up there. Twins is a very, like, a hit or miss here. I think they're a good middle ground here, which is why I put them first. I like Yokais, Banshees. Banshees are the tame ghosts, so they probably belong here. I just like Banshee because I love that they always go for me. No matter what, it's always going to be me. I mean, we've played with 4 people, went after me. 3 people, went after me. 2 people, goes after me every time. So, I'm putting a Banshee up there because I guess I like to die. Phantoms were also one that I was kind of thinking about, but I'll put it here. Gorios, I do like Gorios. I think they have their moments with the challenge, but also I have my own tests that I do for Gorios, which I think are fun. So these are all personal to me. This list is honestly the most accurate here. This C tier, D tier here, Demon. Yeah, honestly, this is a pretty accurate list. All right, we're gonna move on. Item list. Let's go. This is the one that we're not going to do cursed. I just realized the cursed items are here. We're not going to use cursed items because we've already done that tier list. Let's move on here. I'm excited. This is one that this is the main reason I've wanted to do this tier list, is for the equipment. All right. And this is where I really want to hear people's opinions. Let me take a drink of water because I'm talking too much and my throat is hurting. Maybe I should have waited to do this stream because now I'm like, ugh. Alright. Let's start with the photo cam. My baby boy. Alright, no. Realistically, I'm going to put him at A tier. I love my photo cams. I love getting money. I mean, who doesn't? Like, I would be more upset if they told me that I couldn't use my photo cam over, like, half of these things. So, I'm putting him up there because we want money. You know, you get more money by taking more photos than you will by finding the ghost. Therefore, the camera belongs up here. Candles. Yeah. Candles are good for objectives, for Onryos, for... Alright, then I'll move them up more because it sounds like there's a lot. For maintaining your sanity. So, middle ground, because you don't need them. Do I use them often? Never. But they have usefulness to them. So I kind of feel like I have to put them in B tier. Let me quickly answer a message. Alright, I'm good. I'm back. Well, let me open my chat real quick. Alright, we're good. Now, let us move on to the book. This is tricky because there are items that you need in order to get the ghost. But, like I said, I'm going to put this here because do I need it in order to figure out if it's like a demon or a rev or a spirit? Yes. Can I still figure it out without it? Yes. So there we go. It also gives you, you could get multiple photos from this. One thing I've started doing recently is if it's a ghost that is ghostwriting, I will just go in and put the second book in there as well, because if it writes in that book, look at that, double points. Crucifix. Oops. Look, its one use is prevent hunting, and that's an objective. It could be help you understand if it's a banshee or not, and it could prevent you from dying against like a Raiju or a Rev if you put it in the right spot. My biggest issue is you never know what the right spot is. So it could be the most useless item because you never know. It could be the most useful if you don't want to get hunted, but if you want to get hunted, you get rid of it. So it's kind of like the person I play with, Mac, she loves her crucifix. Me, I don't really care that much. So this is a biased opinion putting that there. Like I said, we're going to skip all the cursed items because we already did a tier list on them. Dots. This is another tricky one. I guess I gotta put dots up here, right? You need dots, I feel like. I almost feel like putting them higher because the ghosts that need dots, like a Goryo, really hard to tell if it's a Goryo without dots. Or a video camera. A Banshee is easier to tell without dots. Trying to think what other ghosts are dots. A Raiju you could tell without dots. So that's why I'm not going to put it higher. That's the same thing with the book. Like, if your options are between... Sorry, I heard a really weird sound from downstairs. If your options are between a demon, rev, or spirit, I mean, come on. You could tell the difference between a spirit and a demon. That's why I almost feel like... No, it's fine. I think that's okay. EMF. I love my EMF. I do. I think it's so useful for photos, for evidence, obviously EMF 5. It's useful for fingerprints. You know, you could figure out which door it touched. Take a fingerprints photo. You could just be walking by like I do with my EMF on and somehow finding the ghost. So, I personally think that it's one of the most useful... Oh, sorry, I have to answer a text again. Alright. Alrighty then. What is this? The fuck is this? Is this a weak flashlight? It is. I didn't even know what that was for a moment. Look. I mean, I'm not going to put it on D tier because obviously if it's your only option, then it is more useful than going into it pitch black. So it doesn't deserve D tier. One thing about it too is if you are low on money, like I have been before, and you don't want to potentially die and lose your strong flashlight, you're going with a weak flashlight. So that's why it belongs in C tier, but it doesn't belong any higher. A glow stick. Is this the mirror? I just realized that. I think it is. I'm gonna move it. A glow stick. I'm gonna go here. I don't really use it often, but I think it's really useful for footprint. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the UV up here too because they're pretty equivalent. The best part about the glow stick is that unlike the UV, you don't have to throw it on the ground and it has to aim a certain way for you to see footprints. You just kind of throw the glow stick on the ground and you could see the whole floor full of like footprints if there's like a bunch. So also does the glow stick drain your sanity at all? I don't know. I don't think it does. I wonder if it's similar to the candle. I don't really use it, so I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, let me know. But it's not a flashlight, so I don't know. Head cam. Alright. Doesn't belong in D tier because when you're playing multiplayer, it can come in handy. You could see orbs. I feel like that's like the biggest thing is seeing orbs through somebody's head cam. Another thing is me and my friend like to do challenges, and it comes in handy for a couple challenges we do, so I don't want to put it in D tier. I'm not really sure what's going to land in D tier. Oh, I do. I'm so... sad. Oh, sorry, that's so funny. It's sad, but it's true. Yeah, a sound sensor. When the ghosts were really, really roamy, I think sound sensors were actually pretty somewhat useful. Now that that's fixed, they're back down to D tier. I believe that I own one. Everything else I own a lot of, but sound sensor, I own one. A lighter, I mean, I have to put a lighter at the same thing as a candle, because at that point, they're both as useful as the other, because without it, you can't do anything. A lighter is actually a really useful item, because you obviously can light candles. You can light candles that are just around the house. You can light smudge sticks. You can light the campfire. I don't think it could trigger hunts anymore with an Onryo. I think they could blow it out in your hand, though. I don't know if they changed that or not. So I think it's a good middle ground for them. Motion sensors, great for an objective. Pretty decent if it's a roaming ghost, but other than that, there's not a big use for it. Right, parabolic mic. I'm putting it in D tier because I think... Actually, no. I'm putting it in C tier. Reason being is multiplayer, it is D tier. 100% multiplayer is D tier. They've added a lot of qualities to it where, I think, is it a myling that has a certain way it says something? I think so. Oh my god, all my friends ask me how I'm feeling. How nice of them. I'm so shocked. All my friends are asking me how I feel. It's so weird having people care. I guess it's a little different having COVID. My whole family has COVID, by the way, so it's not just me. But I think that the parabolic, when playing in like a high school solo, can be more useful than like any of these items. Well, not really, but it's got its moments. Sanity pills. Look, I'm putting them up there because if you're facing something like a Raiju or a Yurei or a demon, you need sanity pills, especially a demon. I feel like you need those pills because you will die. That is that. I think another cool thing about sanity pills is you could get your sanity to a certain amount. Like if your sanity gets low and you're being hunted multiple times, you go back and you don't know what your sanity was at, you take a pill, you go back in and figure out when it's hunting to see if it's an early hunting ghost or not. So I think that they actually have a use to them instead of just reviving your sanity. There's uses for them, I promise. Now we have salt. Now, if Mac was here, she would just... She loves her salt. I'm going to put it in the middle. I think it's great for wraiths. I think it's great for footprint photos. And seeing if the ghost is roaming. Other than that, an objective, it's got its moments, but I don't think it deserves to be any higher than that. Smudge stick. Honestly, I'm going to put the smudge stick up here. I'm actually going to move dots. I'm going to put dots up here. But a smudge stick I put up there because, obviously, a lot of the time, you know how many objectives there are for smudge sticks? There's a ton. So you can easily just get a bunch of money from a smudge stick. Smudge sticks, though. But I almost want to put them up here. When you're being hunted, they are one of the most useful items that you will have in the entire game. Honestly. Something like a spirit too. You can, even though spirits don't do anything, you can have it not hunt for like 3 minutes. So it's a lot of testing you could do with smudge sticks. Sometimes smudge sticks, if you light it up in a room, it can reduce a lot of activity and can potentially give you a ghost event over a ghost hunt, which I've seen happen before. I don't know if that's a fact or if that's just something that's happened with me. I think they're really nice. I almost want to adjust this row here. I almost want to do this. Is that stupid? I feel like this looks stupid. Something about it is off. So I'm gonna get so many disagreements here. People are gonna be like, what is wrong with you? Alright. Spirit box. I love my spirit box. For one, it can obviously get you evidence. For another thing, it could tell you if the ghost is away, if it's next to you, behind you. Sometimes if it's away and you keep asking it questions, it'll slowly get to you and be right next to you and probably touch a door, throw something, potentially trigger a hunt if it's like a yokai or yeah, I think it's a really useful object because for roaming ghosts as well, if you get a ghost that's roaming, if all the lights are off, then you can figure out where it is and reset up stuff. I think it's a useful item for sure. One of my favorites. I gotta put strong flashlight up there because, let's be honest, it's not that easy to see without a flashlight. It's really difficult. Obviously, I'm not putting it up here because you can just turn on the lights in the house. And you could potentially still be able to run without a flashlight. I mean, it's a thing. You also have candles, so you have UVs. There's a lot of alternatives, so it doesn't belong up here. Thermo, where I'll put right. I almost want to put it here. Look, for people who are really pros at this game are gonna hate me probably for putting the thermo in the middle instead of like D tier or C tier. The reason I put it there is because, yes, I get it. You don't have to walk in with a thermo. Sometimes it makes your life easier though, because you could find it quicker. Say it touches a door, and you need to figure out if it's in the hallway or in the room. If you bring out a thermo, you could just tell instantly. There's other ways to do it, of course, but I think it's such an easy way to figure it out. And if you have a roaming ghost, all of a sudden, you realize it's a little quiet here. You take out your thermo, and all of a sudden it's 20 degrees in there. You're like, oh shoot. You walk somewhere else and it's 3 degrees. Then it helps you. So I think it deserves a middle tier. I do. Tripods. I'll put a tripod in the middle. It's borderline C tier because you could set up a camera anywhere, but I think it's just a nice little helpful boost more than anything. Like, it's just, if you're somewhere like you have a hallway ghost, it's really hard to set up a camera, especially if you're like a campsite and it's like the hallway. You need a tripod. I mean, you really do. I almost feel like it belongs here just because you can look through a camera and find orbs on your own by just holding the camera for like 5 seconds. And for dots, you could just see it in person or hold the camera if it's a Goryo and see dots. So, borderline, but I'll leave it here since we only have one item left. And we have a video cam. I'm gonna put it here, actually. The reason being is, I almost want to put this up here. I'm gonna put this up here. Screw you guys. I put a video camera up there because it's very useful for orbs. You have no other way of finding orbs without a video camera. You have no other way. So it kind of has to go up there because, oh, you know what I just realized? Maybe I shouldn't have an EMF up here because you could tell EMF 5 on the board, but I guess that's not, it's, I don't know. Because I put EMF 5 up there because it has a lot of uses. Maybe I should bring it down a row because it's one use of like finding evidence you could find on the board. I think we're gonna do that, and I think put this up here because there's literally no other way. And we'll move this back down here. Okay. I don't know. The first 2 rows vary. I think the bottom 3 are good, but I put video cam now up there because, I mean, you can't get an orb any other way. Imagine, let's think about this for a second. Imagine you have a mimic, and you have all the evidence, and it's all for what, like a Hantu or whatever ghost it is, the twins, the Hantu, and Oni. There's some ghost that has like all this evidence but orbs, but you can't find orbs, so you just leave thinking it's that. You need that video camera. Also, video cameras you can use as light if you need to. You can just look through the cam. Video cameras are good for Goryo. I just think that they belong up here because, I know, it's weird having a smudge stick here, but smudge sticks have saved lives. You know what? The S and A tiers kind of vary, but overall I think this is a pretty good list. For any new players, if you were just starting off, look, pros, calm down for a minute, but if you're just starting off, you should probably walk in with a strong flashlight, thermo, and like an EMF. I think that's your best bet. That's my personal opinion. But normally what I do is I walk in with this guy, and normally either him, or him, depends on how I'm feeling. And then I'll go back and either grab this and this. Ooh. This is always like my second thing to grab once I find the room. My next thing to grab is this because it normally takes the longest. First thing I do is I get this guy and I set up a camera. Or set up dots, depends. I don't know. It always varies. It depends on what I feel like doing. Also, if I'm solo versus multiplayer. Alright. Is that everything? Oh. Maps. Wait, there's a list that I want, but I think it doesn't include, what is this? Oh, that's weird. Okay. There is one of these tier lists that are really fun to do. Here. There it is. This one. But campsite is not included. Something else isn't included, right? Or is it just campsite? So, I'll just pretend that campsite's here. So, we have difficulty and fun. So, very excited to do this. Asylum. Difficulty. I mean, come on. Solo asylum, I mean, you gotta get lucky to really figure that one out. Even multiplayer, I mean, it's hard. So for me, I don't find it fun. I think it's boring. I mean, I understand there's a challenge to it, but it's just door after door after door, and it just gets repetitive. There's nothing interesting about the map. I don't know. There's not much to it. I don't find it fun. So, moving on. Blizzdale Difficulty. I guess it's not C tier, but we'll put it in B tier. I don't find it difficult, depending on the room that you get the ghost in. If you get an attic ghost, yikes. Gets a little more difficult, but overall, for fun, I don't know, it's not like fun, so we'll throw it in B tier as well. It's not asylum. It's probably not A tier. It's not fun. It just kind of, I don't know, it's just there. Edgefield difficulty, I mean, Edgefield. I'm gonna put Edgefield at C tier. Reason being, it's a bit of a bigger map for a house. Like, it's not like Tanglewood. Because Tanglewood, I'm probably, for difficulty, going to put it in B tier because there's not as much room to run. And now, since the hunt is shorter because the house is smaller, you can easily just outrun the ghost by running from upstairs all the way to the basement. You'll be fine. As long as you can outrun the ghost. So, it's not a difficult map. It has its moments, though. I've had it glitch a lot, so that's a whole different story, but I don't think it's difficult. Edgefield being fun? Yeah, I like Edgefield. I obviously really like the houses over farmhouse and big maps, but I think Edgefield is a pretty fun house. Grafton. Look, reason I'm putting it there is because Blizzdale is not C tier. Blizzdale is not A tier. But Grafton for me is harder. I don't know why. I almost feel like Grafton is legitimately bugged. Like, it literally has been before, but for some reason, ever since the update, it's been a bit better, but I have had the hardest experiences at Grafton. I don't know why. So that's why I'm putting it there. So, say what you want. For fun, I don't find Grafton fun, literally at all. Personal experience, so if you disagree, lucky you. You've just had different experiences. High school difficulty. I'm going to put it under Asylum because I don't think it's as hard as Asylum. I think Asylum is its own difficulty. Yeah, but see, I don't want to... Alright, we're going to move that down here. I can't put high school at the same as Grafton. That's stupid. Yeah, but see, I don't want to put Edgefield... Alright, never mind. We'll get back to that. For fun... I'm going to put it at A tier. I like high school a lot more than I like any of the other big maps, besides Campsite, of course. I like Campsite. Because you'll see for the next one here, I'll just move on to it. Prison, for fun, goes here. I know for most people, Asylum's the worst big map, and then either Prison or High School vary. A lot of people like Prison more than High School. I like High School more than Prison, probably because of comfortability. Like, I'm more comfortable with High School than I'm ever going to be with Prison. I don't know why. I'm not the biggest fan of Prison. But for difficulty, I almost feel like it belongs between S and A tier, but I'll just put it in front of High School because I think it's harder than High School. I think the one thing about High School that makes it a little easier is phones. If you hear a phone ring, if you hear, I don't know, a ball being thrown, you know, it can give you a better sense of where the ghost is. Whereas in Prison, it's all just prison cells. Ridgeview difficulty, Ridgeview isn't hard. I do like Ridgeview, though. It's probably one of my favorites. I'm going to get so much bashing hate for that, probably, because people hate Ridgeview. I love Ridgeview. There's so many places for the ghost to be. You get so many different rooms. You can easily run away from the ghost. You literally can run from the top floor to the basement, and the hunt will be over. There's a decent amount of hiding spots, especially if you're in, like, professional. I mean, you're fine. You just hide behind a door, you're good. I got my spots. I don't know. I like it. Tanglewood difficulty. I'm actually going to put it here. I'm going to put it... Blizzdale and Grafton are both harder, so I'm going to put Grafton before Blizzdale. Or I won't. Okay. Grafton, Blizzdale, Tanglewood. The reason I think Tanglewood is difficult because there's nowhere to go. I mean, sorry guys. I don't mean to be coughing and clearing my throat. Tanglewood is only difficult in the sense of, like, there's nowhere to run. You can loop, but, like, barely. You can literally loop around the garage and the counter and the kitchen, and that's it. So, it could get difficult, I guess. For fun, put it here. It's not that fun for me. The new potato that Psycho added is great, though. Willow difficulty. I'll put it here. I don't think it's that difficult. You can loop, so it's definitely not a C tier. It's great. Obviously, it's made for pure looping. There's still spots to hide. Obviously, it varies every single time, so you never know what you're gonna get. For fun, I like Willow. I do. I used to hate it. Genuinely used to hate Willow. Now, I'm okay with it. I do think the whole living room situation is stupid because there's literally nowhere to go in the living room. And if, say, you're walking out and that door shuts on you, you're screwed if it's like a Rev or like a Raiju or something. You're screwed. So that's my only thing about it. But yeah, this was pretty easy for me because I know which ones I like and don't like. I've known it for a while. They've changed over time. Willow would probably be a lot lower. A lot of people don't like Ridgeview, but it's probably my favorite place. I do like Edgefield. I definitely think if you think about all the houses, Tanglewood is now the least fun because it's just, there's not much to do. There's not much to go. It's just alright. I love, people are gonna be like, the fuck, seeing these two next to each other, but this is my personal experience. But yeah. So, okay, that is everything for my tier list. If you guys have any other opinions that you want to share, let me know. I would love to know. I'll probably stream, I don't know, maybe a bit later. Who knows? We'll see how I feel. Me and Mac are going to stream tomorrow. We will see the time on that. It's going to be probably late afternoon Eastern time. So set up those notifications because I know you want to. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.